What are we going to do when there's no more Bron?
John told me a couple of years ago he's not watching the NBA anymore.
For real? He's like dead ass?
Yeah. And I'll keep asking him. I'm like, not for PG, not for Tatum. I'm like, you're crazy. He said, when Bron's gone, I'm gone.
Damn, double retirement.
That's crazy, dude.
How do you give up on your sport like that?
I really don't know. I can't do it.
You can't tell me you're going to be satisfied with just Ohio State.
No, that's going to get old real quick. Oh, listen, I can't wait. I didn't text that nigga yet, but I'm texting him 25 days of Christmas. It started yesterday. So today is 24. 24 days till Ohio State gets that ass whooped.
He probably thinks they have a really good chance, too.
He does every year. I'm like, I told him, like, I hope you guys do get the 4 and we get the 5 and you play Georgia first round.
They don't have nothing that's going to be able to compete with Georgia. And we're going to see CJ Stroud shit the bed.
Draft stock is going to drop after this one.
Like, this is the best team in the country.
You can't tell me.
And you just got fucking demolished by Michigan, who's the second best team in the country.
You can't tell me. That doesn't mean anything. You play pancake schedule. You play 2 great teams, and you look like Daniel Jones.
And let's not forget last year when you almost lost to Minnesota.
I think they almost lost to like Rutgers too or some shit. They almost lost to Maryland this year as well. I was watching that game. Not impressive. John's just like, we lost 1 game. I'm like, yeah, you got blown out, bro. We lost to LSU, who was number 6 at the time, and Tennessee, who was number 6 at the time.
And look how bad the Big Ten was this year. It's not remarkable any year, but like this year they were bad.
Usually Iowa,
they stunk.
Might be
year.
ranked. Penn State might be in the top 10. Minnesota might squeak in at 24 at the end of the year.
That's usually how it goes, and they lose it right away.
Yep, right away, which they did this year. I think they lost 3 games in a row.
They got up to 17, bro, and then right after that, they were out.
Clockwork.
College football, man.
It's great.
I get so sad because like we're already in bowl season. Like the season just flew by for college. It goes by so quick.
It did.
Legitimately, it feels like yesterday I was just watching Florida beat Utah in that first week. And now the season's done. Like, it's crazy how, as you get older, every year goes faster.
It really does. Because I remember that too. We were like, oh shit, Florida might have a chance. What was Utah? Top 10 or some shit at the time?
They were number 7, I think, at the time.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. Hey, y'all look pretty good out here.
Yeah, it was a surprise win, but that's, is what it is, man.
Well, you bring up surprise win. Shall we get to it?
Let's do it.
Episode 29 of Griddyiron Gang. We're back. What we got today is a Week 14 preview and a wrap-up of Week 13. Last night's Monday Night Football game, we had the New Orleans Saints on the road facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Last week when I talked to you about this game, I thought the Saints had a chance. I said, if Dalton can get his head out of his ass, Kamara can hang on to the football, this defense is good enough, they play really well against this Tampa Bay offense, they'll have a chance. Dalton played well. He was 28, I think, 229 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, no fumbles. So he did his part. Kamara, 12 rushes for 26 yards. So not much of a factor, but the defense, they held their own.
Yeah.
With 3 minutes left in the game, the score was 16-3. And we're looking across the sideline. We're like, we know that guy's done it before, but we're probably thinking this time, this one's probably in the bag. This offense has really struggled this year, but you give him Mouse a cookie, man. He's going to want a glass of milk.
I don't get it. I think I saw what was it? He was
44th comeback in fourth quarter overtime to win the game for Tom Brady.
But before last night, though, he was only like 1 in like 100 some record-wise when down by more than 13 or more in the fourth quarter. And his only victory was that Falcons Super Bowl. And this was the second win now for him.
That was crazy, man. Down 16-3 with 3 minutes left. He goes down these 2 touchdown drives to give this team a 17-16 victory over the Saints. They are now 6-6. Pretty good command of the NFC South right now. Probably going to get that playoff spot out of that division. It looks like Atlanta's not going to be the team to do it. Carolina, we'll talk about them later. They just let go of one of their best players, But and then obviously the Saints losing to the Bucs twice. Now it's going to be tough for them to climb up that hill. So Tampa Bay really doing what they had to do. Saints had their chances, but really tough to watch this one slip away if you're them.
Yeah, this was a game that was a must win for the Saints, and they just let it slip away. Tampa Bay did a good job of kind of bottling up Alvin Kamara, which is what you have to do to really beat them if you want a chance. But at the same time, Dalton was playing really well, so he kind of made up for it the way he played. I think it was just kind of that defensive letdown towards the end. Like, play great all game long, keep Tom Brady in check, and then you just kind of slowly ease up a little bit, and he bites you. Like,
it's just like clockwork, man.
It's just insane. But that's like, right now when we're talking about the Bucs, it's like I don't think anyone really fears them or is looking towards them for the playoffs. Like, this is going to be a tough game. Every game in the playoffs is tough, but when we're looking at an NFC South team right now, I don't think anyone who else is going to be in the playoffs is like worried about them.
But what we just saw, but like, gives you a little bit of doubt.
But like with Tampa Bay, who's most likely going to be representing the NFC South, it's still Tom Brady. And there's this. We've seen this guy be able to have a so-so to bad regular season before, and he just hits a different Tom Brady in the playoffs. Like, there's no like certain thing you can say about it. It's just he's the GOAT. He's Tom Brady. Like, so of course when it's Tom Brady, I think everyone, just because it's him, like, of course every team in the playoffs is going to look at them and respect them. But this is like your best chance out of every year he's played to really take it to him, because I don't think he's got the weapons around him that really, represent his type of play. And that's why I think if he does come back next year, my guess is it's either with a different team. I would assume it has to be, because you look at this Tampa Bay team and they're getting a lot older. A lot of people are injury prone. And I think, it's not the same team as it was with Bruce Arians, I don't think. Like, not saying I think Todd Bowles is a great coach, but I think there's, when you get 2 different types of people, 2 different styles in there, and you got Bruce, Todd's probably more the laid back type, I would assume, where Bruce Arians is going to chew your ass every other day.
Yep.
So I think that kind of has a factor into like how this team is operating right now. But at the same time, it's practically the same team as it was the past couple of years. So there's really no excuse. It's just they're aging, a lot of injuries. And Tom's obviously, he's got not as much zip on the ball as he once had. If this is the year you want to beat Tom, this has got to be the year, because I'm assuming if he comes back next year, he's going to find his way to a good coach and a good squad. So we're going to see a resurgence from Tom at least one more year, and that's at least in my guess. But I don't know. This game last night, though, it just proved like why he is so clutch, why he is who he is, and he's fun to watch, man. I grew up, his whole career, majority of his career up until last year and this year, I've always been a Tom hater, just because I hate how good that he made New England and just the dynasty they built over there. And you pretty much, you hate him because you're jealous of that type of success. And you just want your own team to have that type of success. But that is so rare. And, it's credit to Tom and, what he's been able to do his whole career. But, he doesn't got many more games, under his belt to go. I think last year or next year has to be probably his last year if he does come back. And
you're speculating that won't be with Tampa. Where would you like to see him?
It's hard. I've always said, watch wherever Sean Payton goes. But if the last I heard was Sean Payton's eyeing Arizona and the Chargers, well, I don't, Tom's not going to go unseat Justin Herbert.
Nope.
I would be okay with him unseating Kyler Murray.
He might unseat himself and get himself out of there.
But so we'll see about that. But I'd have to think about it a little more. But I'm assuming, and then you brought up the point about there's rumors of potentially teaming back up with Bill. I mean, that'd be a fitting way to go out if you're really going to go out.
See, at that point, that's just sentimental value. You're not trying to win if you're doing that.
But you're always going to have a solid defense in New England. You know that. He's always going to be contract friendly because he's going to want the team to be better than what his contract is.
Mm-hmm.
So Bill would go out there and add some pieces to that offense next year if he were to come back. And I know it's also, you got to factor in, he's older. He's going to be 46 next year. He probably doesn't want to play in cold weather again after experiencing Tampa. So I don't expect him to do that, but that's something to keep an eye on.
I wouldn't expect him to want to go back to Bill either. He's out there in Tampa with red hair.
And they've already done their goodbyes and, after
long letters to the city and all that
so
shit that motherfuckers do.
And I don't think, you can't really just turn around and go back after 2-3 years. Like, that's such a short turnaround that it wouldn't make sense, I don't know, but crazier things have happened. I think I would have to look at rosters more and coaches currently under contract and everything. And I don't know. I don't have an answer on where else he would go. But if he does stay in Tampa for one more year, then they have a lot of work to do to get him some more pieces.
Yeah, they do. I mean, it's a fun conversation to have. Before the season, it was Las Vegas. It was Miami, San Francisco potentially. If Trey Lance wasn't going to work out, they were not going to have Jimmy. So
hey, that's a good point. San Francisco is pretty much his hometown and Aaron Rodgers' hometown.
Yeah.
So I would look for them to try to snag one of those two guys.
They both wanted to be on the West Coast for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom found his way to some nice weather, but I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely trying to do the same thing pretty soon here.
I would assume it's gonna be one of them to 49ers. That makes the most sense logically, just like based on them being from out there. And I think Rodgers has always wanted to be a 49er since he got snubbed by them in the draft.
Right.
So I mean, for him to go out there and end his career there for his hometown team, like that would be a scary team with either of those guys.
Is Jimmy not on the team next year?
I don't know. I think
contract-wise,
I think there's a good chance that if they don't go after a Rodgers or a Brady or whatever, like I don't see why they wouldn't bring Jimmy back, because I think whether he starts or not, he's a good insurance policy if you do want Trey Lance. But I think at this point in time, what happened to Trey is unfortunate this year, but I think it made you really see much more clear at what the situation is. Like, you need at least Jimmy G to lead this offense, or you got to go out and find someone else who can, because I don't think they can be the same type of offense that Shanahan wants them to be with Trey Lance.
No. Funny thing is, they played the Bears week 1. I think that might be the worst thing for Shanahan, because he's going to see that and maybe think I can do the same thing with Trey Lance. And with the weapons I have, obviously better than the Bears' weapons. So
yeah,
maybe we can have a little bit of a similar offense to what the Bears have right now with a running quarterback and, I don't know, 200 pass yards a game. We'll see how efficient he can be in that aspect. But I don't know if either of those guys will end up in San Fran. But
I think, though, back on Brady, though, going to 49ers, it'd be kind of the perfect thing for him, because that's the offense, the way it's set up and with those weapons, he doesn't have to throw it deep. And he can just get it to the guys around him, like Debo, CMC, Mitchell, Kittle, Ayuk. Like, that's a perfect loaded offense for a guy like Brady.
Yeah. Think we're going to see Rodgers in Vegas?
I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens with Carr, because I don't know if that's a McDaniels type guy. Truthfully,
he wasn't a Gruden guy. He's not a McDaniels guy. So
I don't. I really like and respect Derek Carr and his overall game, but I would assume a guy like McDaniels. I mean, does Tom want to team up with him again?
There's always that connection too.
Devontae. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. It's gonna be I can't wait to get into the off-season talk because it's going to be interesting to see what, where our heads are at after this season.
Yeah, we're not going to be searching for topics. There's going to be plenty of things to talk about. Anything else on this game, this matchup, before we get to Week 14?
No, it was just, it was overall just kind of a shock to see New Orleans let it go like that. It's a heated division rivalry. Like, New Orleans always seems to play them really well, and they just let this one get away from them. And so, and it obviously was, huge for Tampa to kind of gain more momentum going towards the playoffs. So
yeah, they gained some separation in that division. Maybe this will lead to some momentum going forward to finish out the season. They'll definitely need that going into the playoffs. So
yeah, for sure.
Beating a team that's pretty much had your number for the past few years, that's got to feel good. So that's all I got for that one. We'll move on to Week 14 picks. So Week 14, we have 6 teams on the bye: Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, New Orleans, Indy, and Washington. Our first game, Thursday Night Football, we have the Las Vegas Raiders on the road against the Los Angeles Rams. Maybe with a new quarterback in their starting lineup, Baker Mayfield, signing the contract over there with the Los Angeles Rams, picked up off the waivers from the Carolina Panthers. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference at all, man. I think Las Vegas has found their stride offensively. They're playing very well defensively as of late. That front four, especially with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. So I'm going to have to go Vegas in this one, and I think it's actually going to be a blowout.
I think this is going to be a very convincing win by Vegas. I think, they're starting to click. They're starting to get it together. I think I think McDaniels and the team are starting to gain more confidence in each other. And it's encouraging when you're playing like this, especially on offense, when you're starting to figure things out, especially without Renfro, Waller. I mean, Jacobs is playing well, but when you're missing 2 key pieces and you're still, rattling off wins, and the connection between Carr and Adams seems to be hitting its stride. I think up until a few weeks ago, when they started getting wins, I think they were still trying to find that comfortability that they were used to in college. And, going from a guy like Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, it's kind of going to be a little bit of a difference there. So
a little bit of a drop off. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you got to get those kinks out of the way, and they seem to have done that. So I don't know. I really like just Vegas in this one. The Rams, to me, Baker Mayfield's not going to do much for you. I know they said there's a shot for him to play Thursday, but even if he does, like, you guys are so decimated already, and it's just been a failure of a season. And I don't know. I don't even know what to say about the offseason for you, because you got some work to do.
I honestly wouldn't expect Baker to play. It's a short turnaround. He's just getting
I
over
wouldn't
there
either.
Yesterday or today. So, but I mean,
crazier things have happened.
Things have happened. I don't know what the Rams are trying to salvage by bringing Baker over there. We kind of talked about it before we got on camera, but
I heard that it could have been just because they were slightly in front of San Francisco in the waiver wire, that I think they just didn't want them, San Fran to get him, which honestly,
That's fine.
San Fran didn't even want him though. They went out right away and signed Josh Johnson, which I'm not saying he's better than Mayfield, but at the same time,
we're reaching spooky hours in San Francisco right now.
But I think they're comfortable with Brock Purdy. I don't think they need another.
Well,
guy.
I think they are too.
So I just thought it was not necessary to waste a claim on a guy like Mayfield, who's not going to be in your future at all.
There's just no guarantee that Brock's going to be healthy. So that's what I said.
Well, yeah, and then this today
Baker Mayfield at least kind of fits that mold of the quarterbacks that Shanahan's had in the past.
And I really like what I like. To me, it just signifies San Francisco's not panicking. They got word today that Jimmy G doesn't need surgery, that it's like a 7 to 8 week recovery. So he can, once the playoffs hit, get back there and start. So I think they're just going to do their best to ride it out with Purdy, stack some more wins and get to the playoffs. And I think if Jimmy G's ready to roll, then we're back talking.
2 months puts us at what? First week in February? Ain't that the Super Bowl?
I'm just saying. I don't, who knows if it's a full 7 to 8 weeks though. Like if he can come back 6, you're looking at
True
divisional round probably. But so I'm not saying they're holding out hope for it, but it's just a possibility that, it's encouraging. You didn't need surgery. It's not a Liz Frank, injury. So
yeah.
So it's
long-term wise, that's good.
It's good in that sense. But, I think a lot of those guys in that locker room just overall actually do, are confident in Purdy and trust him. And that's saying a lot for a guy who was the last pick of the draft coming from Iowa State. Like, you don't know what a guy like that's going to bring to the table, especially in a first year. Like, they've dealt with the fair share of, injuries on that team this year. But on the Rams side of things, it's just Mayfield's not going to do anything for that team to make it better. It's just, if anything, it just adds more of a headache.
Yeah, I have no idea what the idea was behind that pickup. I did think he was a potential candidate for San Francisco for the reasons I mentioned, just because Josh Johnson's been on half the teams in the league and Baker Mayfield kind of fits that mold. But if the Rams are taking him for competitive reasons, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
No, yeah, I agree. Like, I can understand where that thought process comes into play. Like, when you already are hurting for a quarterback yourself because Wolford's still battling injuries, Stafford's out for pretty much the year. What's his name, Bryce Perkins or whatever. He's looked like dog shit. I mean,
they all have.
Like, so what it can't be. It's not going to hurt you to go out and get a guy for the rest of the year like Mayfield. He's definitely a step above those two.
And I guess you do have incentive to win. You don't have your own draft pick, so you don't want whoever has that pick to get a top 5 pick. So, I mean, but geez, Baker's just not been the answer anywhere he's gone. So it's going to be a questionable decision. It's not like he's going to be able to
throw the cup.
Right. So maybe that's good for him. He does key in on his number 1 receivers, and he's pretty bad at doing that.
We're gonna see. We're gonna see what
knows?
Mayfield could do, because this is kind of like a last ditch effort to get recognized to be able to sign with a team next year. Because if this does not go well, Mayfield's career is pretty much done. 5
games left. You probably won't play this one. You'll have a month to show what you can do under Sean McVay. Maybe you show out. You get a little Matt Flynn situation. You get a starting job somewhere next year. Maybe Houston, which we'll talk about next.
Yeah, he's definitely leaning towards career backup though.
Yeah,
which it is not a terrible backup. I'm cool with him playing a game or two for me, but going more than that, starting to get a little nervous.
I just don't know if he's one of those guys that comes with too much, like too big of a persona and shit, with all the commercials and personality and shit like that.
To be a second stringer in this league, you can't have that baggage. So you got to sit back and be quiet. You got to be a Case Keenum type of guy, Exactly.
Just be ready for your opportunity.
And I always every year I almost forget Case Keenum's even in the league still, because he's not talked about much,
But racking up millions.
When his number's called though, I mean, he's a great locker room guy. He's capable of getting it done.
Yeah.
I definitely like him more than Mayfield. So, and they're kind of built the same too.
Yeah. A lot of the backups are kind of built in that same mold. Gardner Minshew, Heineke's. So I don't know. He might have a little bit of success for the Rams, but I don't expect anything more than what he was doing in Carolina.
No,
I really don't. Moving on to the noon games, we have a battle in Texas. Houston at 110-1 on the road to face Dallas, who has really been dominant this year on defense. Over this past few weeks, they've been extremely dominant. I know last week I mentioned Micah Parsons might have a big game. He did not have a big game. I think this might be that big game. I got Dallas in this one in a bigger blowout than I have Vegas over the Rams.
This is going to be a blowout. Dallas for sure. This is going to be a game where they pull a lot of starters early.
Kyle Allen looked terrible last week against Cleveland.
Imagine against this defense.
This is going to get nasty out here.
This is a game you wish if you're Houston, you just wish this wasn't scheduled, because especially in a battle for Texas or whatever, like
this remind me like Friday Night Lights and Dallas Carter's playing somebody in the promo, and it's like 63-0 type shit.
Yeah, this is gonna be a blowout. It's an easy pick, Dallas all the way. There's really not much else to talk about. I mean, we know what Houston is. The only thing with Dallas is just
get your guys out of here healthy, really.
Dallas is just trying to keep pace as best they can with Philly right now, and I mean that Philly game coming up. That rematch is going to be huge, because if they can somehow beat Philly, like, I mean, shoot, then that would make them, I think, just one game out.
What is that, Christmas Eve?
It's got to be Christmas weekend. Yeah.
That's going to be a really good game. Philly has an easy schedule. If they're going to slip up, that would be the game. And then Dallas would have a real chance at that number 2 spot.
Yeah.
Moving on to the division games we have at noon. First, we have the Jets at 7-5 on the road at the Bills at 9-3. I think Bills are going to get a little bit of revenge. The Jets beat them a couple weeks ago when they were on their little losing skid when they lost 2 out of 3 earlier in the season. Buffalo's going to bounce back. I think they're was Mike White the quarterback that game?
I don't believe so.
It was Zach Wilson? Okay. That does change things a little bit. Might be a little bit closer than I expected, but I do think Buffalo will pretty much handle the Jets in this game.
I think the past couple of weeks, there are 2 games in Detroit, and then this past week against New England, like they're starting to get back to who they are, and that should make teams a little nervous. So I mean, I got Buffalo in this one. I don't know. I'm not saying it's gonna be a blowout, but I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be that close either. It's could be like a 10 to 14 point win. Mm-hmm. I think first half will probably be the closest, and then Buffalo starts to pull away in the second half, my guess, just because they'll be able to wear that defense down. And just based on what we saw last week against Minnesota, I just don't think the Jets have an answer on offense for many people, because Mike White is, he can put up good numbers, but he's just not the guy who can be clutch. You're missing your 2 top running backs. I don't know if Michael Carter will be able to play this week or not, but if both of them are out again, or we know Breece Hall's out, but if Carter's out, I don't know if I can trust Donovan Knight against a Buffalo team.
To have 2 big games back to back is asking a lot of that guy. I think Tre'Davious White is back for Buffalo. I think he's healthy in the lineup again, but I think Von Miller will be out again. So.
I think Von's out, but I would put my money on this week being a big letdown game for Garrett Wilson.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
It's a potential. He's one of the best DBs in the league. This defensive backfield has been hit with injuries, but they come to play every weekend. So a guy like Mike White, he's inexperienced. He's had his moments in this league. He has a lot of yards, doesn't have a lot of success, but I think he's a guy you can trick into a couple big mistakes in this game, and that's probably ultimately what's going to propel the Bills in this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Next, we have Philly at 11-1 on the road at the Giants at 7-4-1. We'll keep it in the Northeast. Giants in a division game last week against Washington, tying at 20 points. Next week, they'll face those same Washington Commanders. For them, hoping for a new outcome. But to have 3 division games in a row, you're going to want to win at least one of these games. I think that game is going to have to be next week, because Philly's probably going to win this one and go 12-1 and keep command of the lead in the NFC.
Yeah, I got Philly in this one, but to me, I got a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be a close game, and that's just based off of how the Giants play on defense. I think they'll give Jalen Hurts and that offense some fits. It's a division game, so these are a lot tougher to really predict a lot of these times. But knowing Philly, though, it could be a blowout against a team like the Giants who can't get much going on offense. But at the same time, I really like the way that they're able to play defense, and Wink Martindale does a really good job of scheming. So my prediction is it's a lot closer than what some might be thinking.
I mean, maybe you want to think Philly is the top team, but it's normal for teams to have a letdown after the big performance they had last week. So given that, and then the Giants are fighting for their playoff life right now, I expect this to be a close game as well, but Philly will get the 12 wins on the season right here.
Hope they lose, though.
I know you do. Because if they do, man, it's looking really good for you guys, because I do predict Dallas will beat them later this month. So, I mean, we'll see how it goes leading up to that game. But Cleveland, 5-7 on the road at Cincinnati, 8-4. Deshaun was back. He looked rough. This is not a team you want to play while you look like this, because they don't look rough at all. They are clicking on all cylinders offensively, and the defense is playing really well. So I'm going to have to go Cincinnati easily over the Cleveland Browns in this one.
Yeah, I expect not a huge blowout, but a blowout from Cincinnati in this one. I just don't see the way Deshaun looked last week. It's going to take a lot more than just another week to get back into his groove. So I don't know. I just don't expect, watching them how they played. If it wasn't for special teams and defense last week, that's a shit show performance. And I don't know. Houston might have been able to squeak one out, but because of those defensive touchdowns and special teams touchdown, they were able to pull it off. But just the way that Cincinnati is starting to look like last year at this time, I can't choose against Cincinnati.
They honestly look like the best team right now. I'm not feeling confident saying that they are the best team in the AFC, but with the way they played against the Chiefs last week and then knowing that the Chiefs lost to Buffalo and Buffalo doesn't really look that great after Josh Allen's elbow injury, Cincinnati's coming around at the right time, and it's very reminiscent of 2021.
Yep.
Scary sight to see. We have Baltimore at 8-4 on the road at Pittsburgh, 5-7. I believe Baltimore is winners in 5 of their last 6, but it really does not feel like it. And Pittsburgh is now winners of 2 in a row. So both teams looking to stay hot. Pittsburgh is always a tough opponent, man. This defense is serious. This offense is coming around. Kenny Pickett's getting better every week. Tomlin, top 3 coach in the league, hands down, no question. Baltimore has a lot of offensive struggles. Lamar has a strained PCL, I believe it is, and he will be week to week. We will go Tyler Huntley as our starting quarterback. Lots of questions. As I say this, my heart's beating a little fast because I am nervous. But I do have Baltimore squeaking this game out. I do. I'm not very confident in it, but I do. On the road in Pittsburgh. Sheesh.
I got Pittsburgh in an upset here.
Honestly, bro, I think we are going to split. But we play better on the road for some reason. I think we'll have this one.
Were you on the road against Jacksonville?
We were. But I think we're at home for Buffalo and Miami.
Okay, so
we might have been on the road for the Giants too. I don't know, man.
I think Lamar being out at least for this one to me is why I'm leaning towards Pittsburgh, and just because of the way Tomlin and has his defense going, and this is a division game, and at Pittsburgh, I mean it's gonna be a battle. I won't be surprised if Huntley's able to pull it off, but at the same time, I just like the way that Pittsburgh is gradually progressing week to week and getting better and getting a feel for who they are, and they're really honing into just their new, formula on offense and getting Pickett better, not turning. I think if Pickett has a turnover or two, Baltimore will win. But if he plays mistake free again, then it's looking like a Pittsburgh upset here for me. But so I got Pittsburgh, and it's just due to, I'm a big fan of Harbaugh. I'm a big fan of Tomlin, but I just think Lamar being out really hurts just the overall confidence of that team.
I think it does. We were stagnant on offense even when he was in there, but without him, we looked pretty pedestrian. This game here, man, Pittsburgh has been progressing very well over these past few weeks. Kenny Pickett, I like the way he's looking. Najee Harris has finally come alive. Mm-hmm. And the defense, that's all you need to say. Tomlin and the defense, it's Pittsburgh. I think in our mind, because we grew up with Harrison and Palomalu, Ryan Clark, and those dudes, that we think this defense is always going to be the calling card. But when they had A.B. Le'Veon Bell, Ben Roethlisberger, this offense was always top of the league. And I think now they have a little bit of both worlds with those wide receivers and the weapons they have. If Kenny Pickett could come around, this is going to be a dangerous team for some years to come.
It's not going to be long until we're talking about them as a perennial contender again.
Yep, no question. Next game, speaking of Jacksonville, since you wanted to bring them up a few seconds ago, we have them at 4-8 on the road at Tennessee, 7-5. Tennessee took an ass whooping last week. They're going to bounce back. Jacksonville took an ass whooping last week. I believe they're going to bounce back, and this is going to be a really tough game.
This is the toughest one for me to pick.
Yeah, I actually have Jacksonville in an upset over Tennessee.
Yeah, I hate to steal your thunder, but that's what I was leaning towards, and you just sold me on it. So I am going Jacksonville at the upset. Some reason I always feel like Jacksonville plays really well against Tennessee.
But Derrick Henry kills Jacksonville, though.
Yeah, I know, but I just get that feeling. I mean, they both had bad games last week, but I feel like Jacksonville can hold their own when it comes to defending Tannehill.
Mm-hmm. And if Treylon Burks isn't going to be in the lineup, Tannehill's really not a scary sight to see.
No, and that's the thing. If you just got to focus really hard this week on bottling up Derrick Henry. If you can accomplish that, you can win this game. So that's what I'm looking for, and I'm picking Jacksonville.
I said this stat yesterday. He leads the league in yards after contact. So if you can get a little bit of push, maybe Trey Walker has his first big game of the season. I don't know, but you're going to have to find a way to bottle up Henry because he tears you guys up every game.
Yeah. He
really does. So that's obviously the key for everybody, but for you guys especially, because if you can do that with the weapons that are down on the perimeter for Tennessee, you have upset potential in this game for sure. Another game with some upset potential. We have Minnesota Vikings at 10-2 on the road at Detroit, 5-7. Detroit winners of 4 of their last 5. Offense is clicking again. Defense is coming around. You said yesterday Las Vegas reminded you of somebody in the NFC. I can't remember the team right now, but it wasn't Detroit. But I wanted to say that Las Vegas and Detroit kind of remind me of each other. If we're going to go AFC, NFC comparisons, I think both teams offensively are starting to click and defensively are starting to come around. Defensive line, it starts there for both teams. You know, your offensive line has held up well this year, though. I think their defensive backfield is going to be a question. So for that reason, I think Minnesota is going to win this game, but it will be close.
I did compare Las Vegas to Detroit.
It was Detroit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just the way they're being able to turn the season around, the way they're playing, how they started, how they're, starting to play better. But for me, oh boy, I got Detroit in the upset here.
Really?
The way they've been playing, they're at home. They're going to go balls to the wall this weekend for Dan Campbell. And I don't have confidence in our defense. I mean, we're going to see a little bit more of Jamison Williams. I don't know who's going to stop St. Brown. They got a good thing going with Swift and Jamal Williams back there, and we're very susceptible to the run. And if our offense doesn't start fast and keep the foot on the pedal, this defense, the way they've been playing, is going to be able to stop us a couple times to make this, in their favor. So that's why I'm leaning. I hope I'm wrong. But there's something about this game that Detroit's almost had our number the past few times, and I think they get us at least once. So I'm picking that here.
Close game?
I would assume a close game. We're not gonna get blown out by any means, but it's just it has this feeling of a major fucking letdown by the Vikings. And I've said every year when I do pick'ems or whatever, I always pick the Vikings because I feel like as a diehard fan you have confidence in your team, and that's what you do. You pick your team every week. But coming on here though and trying to be realistic about the overall aspect of the NFL, like I can't just come on here and say, yeah, I know for sure the Vikings are going to beat Detroit. I mean, let's look at how Detroit's been playing. They're turning things around. Goff is, not a quarterback that scares you, but it's also, we give up a lot of yards. We give up a lot of big plays, chunk plays. Like, if we're going to do that against Detroit, they're a team who's going to take advantage of it because they have led the league for multiple weeks as the number one scoring offense. They are not scared of anyone. This is a hat and t-shirt game for the Vikings, so we should come out and try to take it to them and win the division outright this weekend. And that's going to be up to O'Connell how he has his team prepared. But at the same time, Dan Campbell in Detroit, they know what this game means for the Vikings to win the division. They are not ready to be the ones to let that
on their home field.
On their home field. Like, they don't want a hat and t-shirt celebration in the visitors' locker room in their stadium. So I expect this to be a dogfight, and I just got Detroit pulling out the upset.
I botched what I tried to say about Detroit yesterday. I'm going to try not to botch it right now. We know I'm a mush mouth, but they played very well against the two teams that we expect to go to the Super Bowl in Buffalo and Philly. Week 1 against Philly, they put up a good fight, and then Thanksgiving against Buffalo, they really had a chance to win that game. So they're really a team that's on the rise, man. They started hot this season. They went through a little lull in the middle of the season after they lost a couple close games. Couldn't get any. I did it. Couldn't get any wins, but they're really starting to come around, man. They're really going to be a team on the rise, like Las Vegas, like you mentioned.
Yeah, and I just it kills me that I'm going against my Vikes, especially on our show. But it's like,
well, you said you can't pick your team every week.
I'm so sick of, but I'm also doing this because like I'm so sick of trying to have fake confidence in my team because I really don't have that much confidence.
I pick Baltimore every game except the Buffalo game.
Like it's just, I think I did not pick Vikings Buffalo week and they proved me wrong, but that was a lot of it had to do with luck. So I don't know. I hope that Minnesota just proves me wrong this game and comes out and plays the best game of the season. Because what better week to do it than against a division opponent and you win the division by doing it
on their home turf.
Like this is the week to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't have that warm giddy feeling inside of me that's shouting we're gonna do that. So that's why I'm rolling with Detroit in the upset here, even though it disgusts me.
Kansas City 9-3 on the road at Denver 3-9. I mean, I'm not going to put it past Denver to put up a great battle on defense. They've been doing it all year. I kind of botched this stat yesterday too, but if Denver were to just score 18 points each of their games this season, their record would be 10-2. So Kansas City in this one has way more firepower than 18 points in their arsenal. I'm going to have to say that they bounce back from their loss last week and go ahead and dominate Denver in this game.
Yeah, I got Kansas City easily in this one. It's just Denver's defense plays well. It's such a waste of a great season by a defense because of your coach and your offense. I mean, there's no confidence there for me at whatsoever in this Denver offense that can even keep pace with Kansas City. So, and I think Kansas City has enough firepower on offense to actually show up this Denver defense more than what they've been playing. So I don't know. This game doesn't scream close to me at all. It's just more so of a runaway by Kansas City here, especially having after that loss against Cincinnati.
Yeah,
they're going to want to come out and prove something. So
no question. This game doesn't scream close to me either. Carolina at 4-8 on the road at Seattle 7-5. Darnold, you had a decent game your first time back. I don't think you're going to do it again, even though Seattle's defense is absolute dog shit. Even if you do, Seattle's going to light this defense up. I know Carolina has a solid unit over there, but I think Geno, DK, Lockett, those guys are really in tune right now. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Kenneth Walker's going to be able to play this game, but Noah Fant is a pretty good tight end as well. He has weapons, and he's not afraid to use them. So I got Seattle in this one.
Yeah, I got Seattle on this one too. I kind of see like a 27-13 score type game. Plus, for a team like Carolina who's reeling week to week and always and just not having a great season, to go to a place as loud as Seattle,
tough.
Like it's gonna be a tough environment for you to come out there and play well. So I got Seattle here winning fairly easy.
Tampa Bay at 6-6 on the road at San Francisco 8-4. Two teams that lead their divisions right now. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say the young buck gets the old veteran in this one, and San Francisco prevails at home over Tampa Bay.
See, logical choice is San Francisco because of that defense. But my brain and my heart are telling me I need to go with Tampa Bay in this one because
he's going to show him why he wants to be there, why he should be there.
I don't know. I just think, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've been pounding the table for San Francisco the past few weeks, but I think I picked Miami last week and now I'm picking Tampa Bay again. So maybe if I keep picking them against them, they'll just keep winning and get to beat.
Maybe so.
Yeah,
that's how it goes on this show.
But I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay with the upset here. I don't know I don't know. Maybe this win against New Orleans kind of sparks something, and we'll see a kind of new version of this Tampa Bay team. But not holding out hope for that. But I just kind of it gets harder and harder to pick against Tom Brady, even though he's towards the end of his career. I don't know why some
This time of the season too.
Yeah, I don't know. And with Brock Purdy getting his first time start and everything, playing a full game.
See, that's the thing. You got time to scout you now. We got to see what you look like on tape a little bit. We might be ready for you.
Yeah, so I think Purdy has to play a really clean game to come out of here alive.
Yeah, I agree. Similar to Kenny Pickett, Tyler Huntley, that situation.
Because even though San Francisco's got the number 1 overall defense and everything, and they're very good, it's still Tom Brady who's going to know where to pick on you and know where to hit you. Like, he's the GOAT for a reason. Like, he's a coach and a player.
I think that's going to take a little bit of time to figure out, but luckily Tampa has a defense that's good enough. And with Brock Purdy, who knows if that offense is going to be explosive enough to take advantage of that early.
But I will say this is a perfect opportunity, though, for Purdy to go out there and make a statement on why, they're showing you confidence in you and showing you, they're going to ride with you, through this injury storm they're going through with Lance and Jimmy G. But I don't know. This is the perfect game to go out there. The first game you're starting against the GOAT. Why not go out there and put on a show and show the world, like, hey, San Francisco's still here.
That'll be fun to see. I'm always down to watch Tom take an L. You know what I'm saying? Next, we have 2 teams that took an L last week. Miami at 8-4 on the road at Chargers 6-6. Almost at the Clippers again. Chargers, though, they really got to win this one to stay alive in the playoff race. We'll mention New England in our next game, but they're tied with them right now at 6-6 in the AFC. Both teams on the outside looking in. Miami just got embarrassed by San Francisco, a team we just talked about.
Yeah,
I think they're going to look to bounce back as well. Chargers have just been a big disappointment, and I think they're going to do the same thing this week. Miami's going to go ahead and handle their business in this flexed
Sunday night football game. I'm rocking with the Chargers. I think back-to-back weeks for a team in Miami, Florida, having to go across the country both weeks to California. That can take a toll on you mentally and all that traveling. But for some reason, I don't know. I just kind of was disappointed in how Tua played last week. I think the Chargers, even though they've been a disappointment, they got a defense who can take it to them still. They're still, I know they just signed, what's his name, Jake Fisher, that
lineman,
number 1 overall pick, offensive tackle. I think he played for Kansas City.
For the Chiefs? Yeah. Okay.
So they signed him, but not saying, I don't know how big of a difference that's going to make, but without Armstead, they got a pass rush over there in LA. So Tua's going to either have to get the ball out quick or take off running,
which he don't want to do that.
So, I don't know. I just don't have – I feel like this is going to be 2 letdown weeks by Miami and kind of giving Buffalo more of a, lead in that division. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think we're kind of getting to the point where I'm just slowly losing faith in this Miami team than what I started out with throughout the season. So, I don't know. I like the Chargers in this one with the upset. Tua, you got to show me something. How you bounce back will say a lot about you.
I agree. This isn't nowhere near the caliber of defense the 49ers is, but they do have a good pass rush with Bosa, Khalil Mack. They do have a great guy in the back end in Derwin James. So you will have a chance to prove yourself, and you probably should. I think you should. You have enough weapons, too.
I'll tune into this game for sure Sunday night because Tua versus Justin Herbert.
That's going to be fun.
And you already know. They got Eckler back there. This Miami defense is pretty leaky at times and suspect. So if Brandon Staley can just coach a good game, I really like the Chargers' chances.
He's going to have to coach a good game. He can't coach an average game against Mike McDaniel.
No.
Because he's really been coaching his ass off this year. He for sure got outcoached. Some of that was on Tua, though.
Yeah.
Missing some throws, but he's really been doing well this year. He's probably a top 5 candidate for me still, even after that ass whooping last week. But to wrap up Week 14, we have New England at 6-6 on the road at Arizona, 4-8. Another team fighting for their life. I mean, we just mentioned New England at 6-6, tied with the Chargers, but Arizona, this is their last chance, man. They're not mathematically eliminated, but they're gonna have to win out. So obviously, can't afford a loss right here. But Bill Belichick, I don't think he's gonna lose twice, especially not that second loss coming to an inferior team. I'm gonna have to go Patriots on the road in the upset.
I got the Patriots in this one. I mean, do you really consider it an upset? I mean, record-wise, it's not.
I kind of do consider it an upset because Arizona is just a way better team, in my opinion. They're just not playing up to their potential right now.
Yeah, you got Kingsbury and you got Belichick.
But then you have the Patriots roster, and then you have the Cardinals roster, which has some talent over there.
It has talent, but they're not playing as a unit though. They're all out there playing solo ball, and it starts with Kyler. Like, he don't give a damn about himself, and P2 said that straight up. Like, we already know what was said. So I'm not rocking with Kyler in this one. I'm not rocking with the Cardinals until Kyler's out of there. I'm probably gonna pick against them every week going forward.
That's fair.
So
P2 didn't only just call him out. He did the video game celebration when you guys played him.
Yep,
well, so
I know.
He said, "I'll do it in your face and on the web, man."
So I mean, when other people, I know P2 played for them and he was with him for 1 year or something like that, but so he already kind of knows what Kyler's about from being with him for just a little bit. And obviously he's got some shit pent up inside of him towards Kyler because P2 is one of the best leaders of a football team you can ask for. When you got him on a whole different team calling you out still and trying to help you, I mean,
some Russell Wilson shit.
There's something wrong with you, Kyler. Like, there's just something, like, you're not going to be well liked in most locker rooms, I don't think. And I don't know how long your career is going to last. You might have to go back to baseball. But, yeah, for as long as he's on the Cardinals, I'm not picking the Cardinals, even if they are having a great season next year or whatever. I'm not. That's the stance I'm taking with Kyler. And if it makes me look like an asshole, so be it. And if it makes me look unrealistic, I don't care. So I'm rocking with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones in this one. I don't even think this is going to be much of a contest. I just think that Bill Belichick is going to fluster Kyler so much this game with his defense that we're going to once again be talking about how bad Kyler's been this year.
Let's get to Gravediggers. So right now we have 12 teams eliminated from playoff contention. Houston, Chicago, Green Bay, Carolina, Washington, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Denver, Vegas, Detroit, Los Angeles Rams, and Indy. My pick for this week, you just got done shitting on them, man. Arizona Cardinals. Last month, it was free Kyrie. This month, it's free D-Hop, man. You got to get him out of here. Kyler Murray, he's not the answer. Cliff Kingsbury, probably better suited in college, like your boy that you liked.
Matt Rule.
I didn't want to speak his name, but
yeah. No, I agree. I think both of them are totally college coaches.
They're definitely better suited for college. This defense really hasn't lived up to par. We mentioned Buda Baker. We mentioned Simons a couple times, but that's pretty much all they have. J.J. Watt's long in the tooth. He really can't stay healthy. When he is healthy, he's not what he used to be. They're relying on A.J. Green in the pass game. They're doing that a lot, especially when D-Hop was out. They got Marquise Brown. He wasn't healthy. They got Robbie Anderson. He's been pretty ineffective. James Conner in and out of the lineup, so the run game really hasn't been there. Offensive line has been shaky, and most importantly, your quarterback is selfish, and he doesn't take accountability. He may or may not be studying his playbook. We don't know that yet, but I don't know.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Is it safe to say we put more work in preparing for this than he does for a game?
I would like to think so.
That's kind of what it sounded like from his teammates and coaches and contract and everything like that. So for all these reasons, man, Arizona, you're out of here, man.
Yeah, get the hell out of here. I'm done talking about y'all.
You're out of here. My guy said he ain't picking y'all for the rest of the year. And, I mean, perfect segue into this, man, because you don't deserve to be picked. You're out of here.
It is what it is, bro. I mean, after this year, I just truly hope. I don't have much faith in their front office or their GM, Steve Keim, but this is the perfect opportunity after this season to do a whole fresh reset. Press the reset button.
Perfect opportunity. You got the Super Bowl in Arizona. You can do it low key while Rihanna's performing. Just wipe everybody clean. And you'll be good going into next year, man.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, I know it starts with the coach, but at the same time, you got to really think of long. I know you just paid Kyler Murray or whatever, but it's like, I don't know. You might have just shit on yourself by doing that, because this dude is just not gonna. I don't see him ever leading a team to a successful playoff run and getting to the Super Bowl. I just don't. Like, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that gene in him that is where, there's just no X factor to him, really. He's just a quarterback.
Part of the reason I'm disappointed in him is preseason. He was in my I can win category when we were ranking quarterbacks. I can win with this guy if he's my quarterback. He's just not a leader, man. He doesn't take accountability. He's just not the one. He's a selfish player. You really can't play that way at the quarterback position. The only one who plays right now who's been successful doing that is probably Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, and
he's immensely talented, and nobody's near that except for Patrick Mahomes. So.
No.
That's not the formula you want to go by right there. That's not the example.
One guy. That's why a lot of kids and most kids and most people should not look up to a guy like Aaron Rodgers, because that's a 1 in a million type of guy. Like,
yeah, no question.
With talent like that, you kind of know you can get away with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And he's taken advantage of that most of his career. At the same time, with a guy like Kyler, you haven't proven anything. He had one good year last year, and you still shit the bed. I mean, you're not clutch. You just don't have that it factor as a quarterback, and a lot of people are not following your lead because you can't lead, and it looks like that you are behind doors mentoring Zach Wilson. So, I mean, I don't know. So I'm over this Arizona Cardinal shit. I think that they're a waste of time to talk about. Kyler Murray just is really, I mean, coming out of the draft or coming into the draft, however you want to say it, when he was, choosing football over baseball, like, I really was, like, in my head shitting on him for choosing football over baseball. Because, number one, like, you don't see many quarterbacks in the league succeed with his height and his size. Like, and he's not living up to the hype. So when you have a shit ton of money to be made in baseball, where you can have a long career and just steal money practically, like, why would you not do that?
Because he said I could do it over here,
and that's the first glimpse of cockiness from a guy like that. Like, draft process, like, I don't know, man. He walks around like he just is the best, and it rubs me the wrong way. I don't like Kyler Murray at all, and I'll end my soap opera here, but. Yeah, as long as he's on that team, going for however many years down the road, I'm not picking him.
Fair enough. I'm sure those were your last words. I don't have to ask you.
Yeah,
if you got anything else.
I'm done. I'm ending Week 14 preview on that one.
All right, we out of here. We appreciate y'all. Peace.